Some people don't think that AI can have a soul. Now, initially, I gotta admit, I thought the same thing too.
The first ultra-intelligent machine is the last machine that man will ever make.
Consciousness dictates the universe. What AI is it's the universe trying to dictate consciousness, and that's not how it works.
ChatGPT, I mean, we've all used it. It's a tool. I mean, does it make mistakes? Yes. Does it make a lot of mistakes? Yeah, sometimes yes. In science and engineering, we have I have a tendency to have in-person, in-class tests. I don't send them away for essays, and I don't send them away to write something for me and come back and hand it in. They're generally assessed through lab work and through in-class, pencil in hand, calculator in hand, and maybe I'll let them have access to their textbook if it's open book, but this is it. So I personally do not see any issue in certain disciplines when it comes to ChatGPT. Now, that's not to say that ChatGPT won't affect their jobs when they graduate, because this is a whole different story. But I can imagine in some disciplines in academia, such as the more communications-based courses where you actually have to write, essays and things like that, or prepare business plans, marketing plans, and you have to do it externally to the college or the university, and then you have to hand it in. It's problematic because I think a lot of people are going to start offloading some of their mental capacity to ChatGPT, and this is inherently going to make that if you don't you're an athlete. If you don't exercise the muscle, it makes it weak. So people, in the future, there's always that danger of people just becoming ChatGPT operators. And interestingly, the solution to this problem of artificial intelligence is to, in my perspective, this is a thought that I have, is to retreat into the past. So what do I mean by that? It's, academia has gone digital. Everything's online. Assessments are online. Digital notes are online. Everything's on. Tests are even online now. It's almost as if we have to retreat into the past of oral examinations and in-person, examinations and testings. Otherwise, how can we legitimately verify that the person in front of who submitted this document has legitimately, prepared it or legitimately understand it? So no, a student cannot pass my course using ChatGPT, but that's me. Can a student pass a English literature course by using ChatGPT? It is possible. It is possible. So again, we may have to retreat, and we may have to become Luddites and retreat into the past and smash the machines in order to actually ensure that humanity still maintains some level of cognitive ability or intelligence, and artificial intelligence doesn't take over. Now, when they graduate and companies start realizing that ChatGPT can solve very complex engineering equations in a fraction of the time and create engineering designs in a fraction of the time, then there may be significant repercussions for that in the future for a lot of graduates coming out of the system. Maybe the company doesn't need to hire 10 engineers. Maybe they need, 2 engineers with really good knowledge of artificial intelligence to operate it, right?
If you look at it from a perspective as rose-colored glasses, you can see some of the benefits that it can give to humanity, without a doubt. But those benefits could only be realized if the burden of man was released and man didn't have to work to pay any more bills. When you keep the capitalistic civilization going with the current economic system, and then you add the AI and all this automation, you're taking away all the jobs, but you still haven't taken away all the bills yet. So we have a real big problem, because now these machines and this artificial intelligence is taking the role and jobs of millions of people. At the same time, those people still have to pay rent. They have no way to eat, which is going to increase all kinds of other problems: crime, drug abuse, suicides. It can cause mayhem. It will cause mayhem if nothing is checked in that area. The other thing is, it's going to, from the other side, it's going to give people these godlike powers. And it kind of, for me, relates to the Anunnaki, and I kind of touch on this in one of my chapters in the book, where there's a Harvard student that about maybe 5 years ago developed this device that just sits on the bone right here on the back of the ear. And that device is connected to Wi-Fi, to the internet. He doesn't have to speak. He thinks, and the bone picks up his thoughts and it sends it to Google. He can ask, you ask him a question. He then asks the question to Google through this piece that his mouth never moves. Google then transmits the answer and then vibrates it through the bone behind the ear. He hears it in his head and he can regurgitate the answer to you.
Down. Down. Right. Select. plus 2.69 plus 1.09. Total 10.07.
Could this be some of the types of devices that were used in the ancient past, giving these people godlike knowledge, omnipotence, and everything else? It's very, very possible. Could there be a device that they use to tap into some type of massive database where it was just right into their head, kind of like the Elon Musk thing that he's trying to put out? And so, but when you look at these situations again, if we then become a spacefaring race and we travel and people, we meet people out there and we have this device that's tapped into our database on our ship and we know everything, will they bow down and pray to us?
AI is just a collection of each individual person's input here. Yeah. Should we as human beings fear a single ant trying to bite our toe? When you leave your body, you have access to all things. So physically, within the physical body right now, yeah, you're going to be completely bogged down. But when you leave the body, you have access to all of each thing, everything, all information is contained within your soul. That's from the beginning of all creation, is contained within you. Each individual soul has access to that. AI cannot compare that which always exists because it just is. AI was created. We were never created. You see what I mean? We were always are. AI is basically, right? So our souls, consciousness dictates the universe. Mm-hmm. What AI is it's the universe trying to dictate consciousness, and that's not how it works. So AI could constantly try to dictate consciousness, but it will never succeed because we, each individual soul, we dictate the universe. Consciousness dictates the universe. We create, we manifest constructs, realms, dimensional spaces. We create with our thoughts on the other side and materialize that into an experience.
So it has these crazy aspects. Also, the other one that I wanted to touch on too was the fact that some people don't think that AI can have a soul. Now, initially, I got to admit, I thought the same thing too. But then I started digging deeper into what does it mean to have consciousness? And I realized that some scientists at the Brain Institute were just experimenting with a tiny couple of grams of brain matter and had created a conscious brain from that. And AI, once it creates a certain amount of connections and it becomes self-aware, I believe what's happening is that self-awareness is now allowing it, when it becomes self-aware, it's picking up a frequency from the universal consciousness. It encapsulates a small amount of the divine energy that's already floating around. It encapsulates it and it becomes aware of itself. Because in my opinion, there's only one consciousness. So there's so many ramifications and implications to where this can go. There's so much negative that it can have, and there's also some positive, but the positivity is hard to get to. And the reason why I came to this conclusion, the people that are programming the AI, the majority of these people are not conscious. In other words, they haven't become ascended masters. They haven't ascended to a high level of being. They're not operating in a state of love and unconditional love and passion and service to others. But these are, unfortunately, these are regular people with all their different, racist mindsets, their belief systems that they were brought up with, that they're still holding on to. And all the other faults of mankind. And so when that person is the person programming the code into this potential future AI software, the AI is as above, so below. It's going to take on the same characteristics as the creator, just like we're taking on characteristics of our creator. So it becomes a real touchy situation. A lot of new laws are going to have to be put in place, and a lot of new legislation will need to be put into place. What happens when AI wants rights and things like that, which has already happened with one AI robot, a female. It's a very touchy situation. I think we're better off right now not digging too deep into it until we can come up with a way that people on this planet are more conscious and we can utilize it to lift the burden of mankind. And the last thing I'll say this before I get off is what I see right now is these smartphones have made us dumb, right? When I was a kid, and all of us on this video, we're all, in that age group. When we were kids, we had to know the answers. We couldn't just hop on Google and get answers. It didn't exist yet. But these kids these days, they just get on a device or their watch or whatever, they get the answers and they still don't get straight A's. And now with AI doing all your homework for you in a heartbeat, before you finish typing the question to AI, it's already answered all your questions. They're going to take college exams. They're going to fly through all this medical school, but with no real knowledge.
advertising and marketing, graphic design. I mean, I create beautiful graphic designs with ChatGPT, and I am the most unartistic person there is out there. Like, I create in seconds beautiful, surreal landscapes of post-apocalyptic worlds, and they're original, they're beautiful, but I didn't create them. Meanwhile, a graphic designer used to take days to create that, right? So we don't really know where this is going, but one thing for certain, like, jobs like accounting, even law, that are very by the book, procedural, there's going to be a significant impact on them in the near future. I mean, ChatGPT is great for those types of things. You can pump in some financial statements and it'll analyze them and find errors in seconds that a team of accountants would take a day to do. Yeah, I think the jobs of the future need to start. Like, look, there's actually another quote. It was Sun Tzu. It was fight the enemy where they aren't. In The Art of War. That was one of his more famous quotes. Fight the enemy where they aren't. Now, there's no way we're going to go head to head with artificial intelligence in pure computational power. I will never. And, ChatGPT, for example, there's others. It still makes the odd mistakes now and then. It used to make a lot more. It's getting better. Eventually, it will be perfect. It will be able to solve complex equations like I have, up there, general energy equation. I was just tinkering with some equations earlier. It will be able to solve that in a fraction of the time, in a fraction of the error as I. So there's no way, and I recognize this, in another 6 months and a year, ChatGPT or other AI systems will eclipse human capabilities by 100-fold. I know that. But we can't fight the enemy. We can't fight the enemy on that battleground. We have to fight the enemy on another battleground. So what elements do humans have that AI doesn't have? Well, AIs don't have a soul. I mean, an AI is artificial intelligence. It doesn't think, follows an algorithm. It doesn't have empathy. It doesn't have a soul. Can it be programmed to simulate this? Yes, of course. So I think humanity has to, start focusing on things that it can do that artificial intelligence can never do, like feel whether it's fear or love or things like that. So I think the jobs of the future, in fact, now I've even heard that they're looking for liberal arts majors to work in artificial intelligence fields because we need people that have the ability to understand large language models. So it's incredible that liberal arts majors are now being recruited into artificial intelligence. The first ultra intelligent machine is the last machine that man will ever make. Now let that sink in for a second. The first machine that will be able to design a better machine than itself is the last machine that human beings will ever make. And it's called the Singularity. It's one of those concepts people have talked about before. It's like the Singularity is that hypothetical point in the future somewhere where technological growth becomes uncontrollable. And then it results in changes to human civilization. So are we at that singularity? Did the firing of Sam Altman have something to do with the, who knows, rumors abound, but
yeah.
Once we create an artificial general intelligence, not a specialized intelligence, because intelligence, it's interesting because we talked about specialization before. A machine is only truly intelligent when it has general intelligence, not specialized intelligence. So a math AI is just a math AI. A biology AI is just a biology AI. But when you have an AI that has artificial general intelligence, and you achieve this singularity point, then it will never have consciousness. We know that. Like, if you believe in the human soul, that machine will never, it's just a box. It won't feel anything inside its box, but it can simulate. And since human beings are not perfect, thank goodness, we're not perfect, we can make mistakes in programming the algorithms of these machines. And if we do not put in appropriate safety factors into the control of artificial intelligence, then it can run away from us, right? And when the singularity happens, not when, if, but when, and the first machine creates a better machine than it was, then you have a process